that would be great. Just gonna give it a second to see.
One attendee.
Yep.
Two, or two now.
Okay. Oops. All right, where'd you guys go? Hold on. Okay. Good evening. I'm going to call this meeting to order. This is a special meeting of the Gloucester Licensing Board. Today is May 2nd, 2022, and the time is 6:30 p.m. This is a remote participation meeting on Zoom. This meeting is recorded by video and audio in accordance with state open meeting law pursuant to section 20 of chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021. This meeting will be conducted by remote participation. Additionally, all votes taken by the Gloucester Licensing Board during this and future remote meetings will be by roll call vote. If you're calling in on a phone, you can press *9 to request to speak. If you're watching on a computer or device, there is a raised hand button that you can tap or press to request to speak. Please use either of these options during oral communications to be recognized to speak. Tonight, joining me, we have member John Lamarand, we have member John Orlando, and we are very privileged to have Sergeant Sean Connors from the Gloucester Police Department joining us as well. And Allison Battle, our licensing clerk, are all in attendance, and myself, Melissa Pretz. So the first order of business is public comment. Is there any public comment? Is there anyone that would like to address the licensing board on a matter that is not on the agenda? If you do, please raise your hand. I see, oh, we do have someone raising their hand. Is that Michelle?
Yes.
Allison, can you promote Michelle, please?
She's
Michelle, if
muted.
you can unmute and state your name and address.
I just unmuted. My name's Michelle Kelleher. My address is 26 Westmoreland Avenue, Long Meadow, Massachusetts. I just wasn't sure I'm on the agenda. Allison sent me the invitation, but I just wanted to make sure that we are on the agenda.
For what matter?
For a one-day temporary liquor license for my son's rehearsal dinner at the Maritime Gloucester.
Yep, that's on the agenda. So
Okay,
we will be
great.
addressing that shortly.
All
Thank
right,
you.
thank you.
Great.
Okay. I believe no one else is raising their hands. So the first order of business is common victual licenses. We have 3 on the agenda tonight. We have KPN Coffees located at 86 Bass Ave, Good Harbor Beach Corp., 1 Salt Island Road, and Maria's LLC, 35 Pearl Street. John and John, do you have any questions or concerns? The applications are in the system. We've had a chance to review them. Do you have any concerns with the paperwork that was submitted?
I don't.
Nor do I. I was going to suggest that we just blanket approve them, but that's up to you, Madam Chair.
Absolutely, and I'm just going to ask Sean Connors like I always do.
No concerns with any
No
of them.
concerns. Great, thank you. Okay, who's going to be the motion maker tonight? It's not me.
I will. John did it last time, so.
Okay,
So I motion to approve a common victuals license for KPN Coffees doing business at 86 Bass Ave, Good Harbor Beach Corp. Doing business at 1 Salt Island Road, and Maria's LLC doing business at 35 Pearl Street.
And I second.
we have a motion and a second. So discussion. I just want to say all the paperwork was complete. Thank you all if you are joining us tonight and watching. We don't have any questions because the proper documents have been submitted and signed off on. So with that being said, all those in favor, we need roll call vote. I'm sorry. Allison, can you do a roll call vote?
Mr. Orlando,
Yes.
Ms. Fritz,
Yes,
Mr. Lamoran.
Yes.
and the vote passes. So those licenses will issue. Next order of business is lodging house license renewals. We have Crow's Nest Association, Inc., 334 Main Street. I don't believe anyone is joining us from Crow's Nest. This is an application that has been submitted to us every year. John and John, are there any questions on the application?
I don't.
I did not have any questions either. Everything seemed to be there.
Is there a motion to approve?
Sure. A motion to approve the lodging house A license for Crow's Nest Associate Inc. doing business at 334 Main Street.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
No.
Sean Connors, any concerns with Crow's Nest?
No, any issues we've had there, we've had no issues dealing with the management. They've been very helpful with us.
Yeah, they have great management. Roll call vote?
Mr. Orlando,
Yes.
Ms. Prince,
Yes,
Mr. Lammerin,
Yes.
and the vote passes. That license shall issue. Next order of business is entertainment license, JCG Investments LLC, Castle Manor Inc. Inc. at 141 Essex Ave. We will start with that one as others. Is there anyone here from Castle Manor? I believe Kaylin.
Yes.
Hi, Kaylin.
Hi,
How are you tonight?
I am good. How are you?
Great, thanks for joining us again. Can you just state your name and address for the record?
Yep, I'm Kaylin Andrews at 205 Western Ave, Gloucester.
Thank you. So tell us what type of entertainment is going to be happening at Castle Manor.
So entertainment is mostly for our events and weddings that we have. So having live music, small bands, typically 2 to 4, people for a band, and DJ.
And what about the times of that? Because this is outdoors, right? Is it indoors, outdoors, or both?
So it's both. Most
Yeah.
of the events happen outside on the function deck, but there's a few that happen inside, but majority will be outside on the deck.
So, and I'm just trying to remember my, the area over there. Are there houses around that event function
Yes.
besides
we
John
have-
O'Leary?
Yeah.
Right across the street.
Yes, we have residential houses right next to us and across from us as well.
Okay, so time is going to be important here in this conversation. I know there's been functions there in the past, many functions. Are you doing anything outside of the ordinary that's happened at that location?
No, everything would be the same as it was in the past. And typically, we usually have music off by 10 and 10:30 just to appease our neighbors as well as guests that we have staying with us if they're not part of the function that we have that night.
Okay, have you received any complaints, or you wouldn't be aware of that yet because we probably haven't had functions in a couple of years, right?
We've had a few complaints from people up at the Heights every once in a while when we have weddings, but it's very few.
Okay, and what are they complaining about when they call?
That the music is usually too loud, and that's usually when we get these calls, it's typically around like close to 10 and 10:30. If anyone does call, we really just go up to the DJ and have him turn it down a little bit, and that usually fixes the issue that they have that I'm aware of.
Okay, Sean Connors, are you aware what time the noise ordinances goes to?
And I know in the past that we've, through the licensing board, we've had different times set for, a lot of times. If it was
Depending on the neighborhood.
Depending on the neighborhood. Like back in the day, Captain Collins they'd be shut down by a certain time, but other places would be allowed to be a little bit later because it wasn't exactly a residential area. However, I will say the complaints, we did have a noise complaint there, and our officers went there and found that the noise level, and Mr. Orlando might be able to speak better to this, but our officers that were on scene and documented on scene that the noise level was adequate. They did not find it to be too loud.
Yeah, I'm sorry, if I may add, I am directly across the street, and depends on the wind direction, whether you hear it or not, but they are usually shut down by 10 o'clock. I have to say that any noise really comes before that hour. When I ran the manor and we had entertainment and we had a problem with sound, we finally started telling the DJs to wind it down by 9:30. So instead of playing your fast songs, your loud songs at 9:30, quarter or 10, start playing a couple of slower ones or softer ones. And then ultimately it just ends. And that worked beautifully. Just a suggestion.
Okay. John, do you have any questions?
No.
Kaylin, just a quick question. It looks like from the application, it's Wednesday through Friday, 4 p.m. or Wednesday, Thursday, 4 p.m. to 10, Friday, 4 to 11, Saturday, 2 to 11, and Sunday, 1 to 10. Is that correct?
Yes.
So you go until 11 o'clock, not 10:30?
Friday and
So,
Saturdays.
yes, on Friday and Saturdays, we have it to 11, but typically with any event, we have the music turned off between 10 and 10:30. I don't go any later than 10:30 just because I know we'll end up getting complaints. And we slowly have the DJ start to turn the music down once we get more towards 10 o'clock.
Okay. I just want to put on the record, since I've been on this board, we haven't had anyone come to this board directly to complain, which is an option for the public to do. And Sean Connors, your experience is that any reactions to the complaints, you have found that the manor is acting accordingly and appropriately with not too much of a problem. It's
That's
just a
correct.
matter of having a little bit of noise. So there is, I know, not only is there an ordinance in Gloucester, but there's also a decimal level of noise that the building inspector can get involved with if they feel that the sound is inappropriate. So Kaylin, I just want you to understand that, I mean, I don't see any problems with, from my perspective, me being one vote tonight, but just know that we're going to be aware of any complaints that come forward and we'll just have to see what happens. I mean, people aren't used to having a lot of noise because of the past 2 years have been pretty quiet. But let's just see how it goes, because you have a great reputation over there, and we want to make sure that there's lots of good times and fun in a safe way.
Absolutely.
John, any other questions, or Sean Connors, any concerns?
No, we have no concerns.
Is there a motion to approve?
A motion to approve an entertainment license for JCG Entertainments LLC, Castle Manor Inn at 141 Essex Ave, Monday, Thursday, 4 p.m. to 10 p.m., Friday, 4 p.m. to 11 p.m., Saturday, 2 p.m. to 11 p.m., and Sunday, 1 p.m. to 10 p.m.
I'll second that motion.
Allison, do you have those hours?
He trailed off a little on Sundays. Was it 1 to 10?
1 p.m. to 10 on Sunday. Oh, I know. Well, we have to do separate ones. So just go to
No,
Saturday.
no, we don't. No, we can do it together because it's
Okay.
not a recommendation to the mayor anymore. So we can do
Okay.
all one motion.
1 to 10. Okay, thank you.
So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
No.
Roll call vote?
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Mr. Orlando, I was writing away.
Yes.
Miss Prince,
Yes.
Mr. Lammerin.
Yes.
Kaylee, do you have any questions for us?
I am all set. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Wishing you a very successful season.
Thank you.
Good luck, Caleb.
Thanks, John.
Next order of business is entertainment license for Studio LLC, the Studio 51 Rocky Neck Ave. And do we have anyone? Let's see, anyone here?
Nope.
Allison, did you invite anyone from the studio?
Yes, Meredith Fine.
Okay, well, we'll just put that over to the next meeting. And I say that because I know there's a lot of chatter going on down Rocky Neck right now. So I just want to make sure that we do it when someone is here to represent them.
Yeah.
Next matter is Castaway Vintage Cafe LLC, 65 Main Street. And we do not have anyone representing that business as well. Allison, did they say they were going to appear tonight?
Yes, they did.
I know we
Alright.
haven't had any issues in the past. And they don't go,
Yeah, there's some questions about what type of events they want to have though, in my opinion. So I just want to make sure that it's similar to what we've approved in the past, and if not, we discuss it.
yeah, yep.
So we'll just put both those matters over to a next meeting, which we'll figure out a next meeting after this, at the end of this meeting. Special one-day liquor license. Jim Kelleher is requesting to serve all alcohol beverages on the pier at Gloucester Maritime Heritage Center, 23 Harbor Loop. And we have Michelle Kelleher here.
Jim is here
Hi.
also.
Who is here?
My
Hi.
husband Jim is here also.
Okay, great, thank you. So if you could both state your name and address for the record, please.
James Kelleher, 26 Westmoreland Ave, Long Meadow, Massachusetts.
Michelle Kelleher, 26 Westmoreland Ave, Long Meadow, Massachusetts.
Thank you. Sounds like there's an exciting event coming at Gloucester
Yes.
Maritime
Yes, there is.
on May 26th from 4:30 to 10:30.
Right. It's the rehearsal dinner.
Okay, and a welcome reception for family and friends. How many people are you expecting?
About 75 to 80.
Okay. Sean Connors, is the police department aware of this event?
I spoke to, I believe it must have gone through special events, I take it. I spoke to the deputy chief about it this evening prior to coming on, so he is aware of it now. He wasn't sure how many people were gonna be there, which we just learned. And again, our concern would just be any potential of underage drinking and how they're gonna handle that aspect of it.
Okay. I don't know that this would be special events unless they ask for the road to be closed down because it's on private property.
Correct, and it wouldn't, so if it's only down the pier, as opposed to if they, and that's what we were not sure if they were having a beer truck or something like that, or they were just having it catered. So if it was catered down the pier, then it wouldn't go to that, correct?
And is there a history of having these types of events down there that you know of, Sean?
There's been a few times, and we haven't had any problems. I will say, I think most of the events down there held there are respectful, classy, and we have not had any issues.
Great, thank you.
I don't foresee one with this event as well.
And I know they have approval from the property owner who was not able to attend tonight because he had another commitment. He thought this meeting was going to be next week, but due to my schedule, we changed that, so he wasn't aware. So he would be here to say that he approves of this event. Allison, do you have a copy of their liquor liability insurance?
I do not. I spoke to Mr. Kelleher last week and I gave him a list of things we needed, one being a letter from the property owner, the tip certification, and liquor liability. I was not in the office today, so I don't know if he did send them today, but I do have my email. I didn't get anything.
Okay, so Michelle and Jim,
Yeah.
did you take out liquor liability insurance for your event?
So my son's fiance had reached out to the contact, what's his name?
Michael DeCoster.
Michael DeCoster, and he assured us that all of this would have been taken care of.
By him.
Mhm.
Madam Chair, on the
Yes.
application, Boston Best Bartending Services is going to be the bartending group there, and they say the bartending service has this covered. We just don't have copies of it, I believe.
Right, so part of my concern is we don't have the copies.
Yep.
So the bartending services wouldn't have the liability insurance for the property. I mean, they would have their own insurance to cover their service, but not necessarily the whole event on the property if there's an issue. So we would need to show that there's liability insurance specifically for this event on that site.
Mhm.
Is that something that the representative from Maritime Gloucester deals with? Because he told my future daughter-in-law that he had everything covered and we didn't have to worry about anything on our end. That's the gentleman who I'm assuming you said couldn't make the meeting tonight.
So what I can say is the past practice here is the person who handles the event gets the liquor liability insurance, meaning whoever's event it is, meaning you. I am not sure of the processes and procedures for Gloucester Maritime as far as, do they have a policy that covers liquor liability for every day of the year? I don't know. What I do know is that if this is approved tonight, which I don't see any reason it's not to, that it is approved subject to us getting a copy of that liability insurance that specifically names liquor liability as a coverage.
And do you know a company that you could suggest? Because obviously we've never done this before. Could you?
No, I think you can call any insurance company, and we wouldn't recommend one
Oh,
or
okay.
another. But I think if you reach out to an insurance company and they may have it, or Mr. DeCosta may have it already. I don't know, but what I know is we need to have it on file
Okay,
with our office as part of the issuance of the license.
Yeah, I suggest go through Michael DeCosta first,
okay,
because he may have a rider on his policy.
Oh, I see.
But nonetheless, he can give you a local one.
okay, because our understanding was that he told my future daughter-in-law, he's got everything taken care of, that we shouldn't have to worry about anything. So we'll follow up with him on that.
Right, because the license won't be able to be issued until that document is in our files, and you need that license to be displayed the night of the event.
And who would I be sending that to? Allison?
Allison, yeah, she'll be there, and you can either, even if you just email a copy or upload it into the system, if there's an ability to do that, I'm not sure.
Mhm.
When I say the system, I mean our Gloucester online system.
No, this application is not online, Madam Chair.
So we would need an email copy or a hard copy delivered to the office prior to the
Okay.
event, which is.
If I attach it in an email to Allison, that would be okay then.
Yep, and like I said, we're gonna specifically look for the liquor liability. It's not just an insurance policy. It will also have liquor liability coverage, which is usually $1 million to $2 million or $3 million or something to that effect.
Okay,
So that's really the only thing that this coverage is for, liquor liability, just looking for the terminology when I call.
Yeah, so what it is because you're getting a one-day liquor license, right? So this place doesn't have a liquor license. So they typically wouldn't be insured for liquor license coverage because they're technically not a function hall. So that's why one-day licenses, the applicant usually gets that one-day coverage, or I think it's 1 week or whatever they give you for the lowest amount of coverage. That way, if there's any issue involving the sale of alcohol to any attendee or something on the property, that insurance will cover it. What I do know is the policy specifically has to state liquor liability coverage because it's an add-on. It's
Okay.
not usually in typical policies because not all policies have liquor service. But because you're asking for a service of one-day liquor, that coverage needs to be available in case there's any incidents related to the service of alcohol. I understand that the bartender service may have them to protect them, but it may not necessarily protect all circumstances of the event. And we just want to make sure that that coverage is available.
Okay.
And are you going to be getting the alcohol, or is the owner of the property getting the alcohol?
I believe it was suggested to my daughter-in-law, a wholesale distributor. They're
It
gonna
has
get
to
it.
be. Right, by law, it has to be a wholesale distributor.
Yeah,
So are you organizing that? Because what happens is they give you receipts and then you have to take account of what alcohol you have. And then when the event is over, you have to account for what alcohol is left and let this board know the service of alcohol, the contents of that service for that event.
following the event.
So who's in charge of that?
my daughter-in-law, and
Okay.
I mean, I can call her now and,
No, I just want you to know that that's part of our approval process, is to ask that question, because we will expect those receipts within a week after the event
Mhm.
okay,
for the accountability of the service of alcohol. In other words, you bought this much, you gave away, because I'm assuming you're not selling alcohol, right? This is
Correct.
right. So then we just need to see the amount of alcohol that was served
Mhm.
okay.
and a receipt from a wholesaler, which I believe Allison Cappy's is a wholesaler, correct?
Not Cappy's Danvers is not, which I discussed with them as well. They have Cappy's Danvers on their application. They are not
Okay.
a wholesaler. So I suggested that they call and find out which Cappy's is. So I don't know if they've done so yet.
Well, this was done by, again, this Michael DeCoster, and he suggested this Cappies to my daughter-in-law, and she's given them, I believe she's already given them a deposit and whatnot to go forward. So it was new, she was really surprised that the guy from Maritime Gloucester did not give her somebody who was approved.
So again, I have to go back to you are the petitioner. So it is in order to approve this license, the petitioner has to purchase their alcohol from a wholesaler. That is a law for Massachusetts.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just a Gloucester regulation, it's the law. So that issue is going to have to be resolved as well.
Okay.
Okay.
John and John, do you have any other questions?
No, I think, did the building inspector complete theirs?
Yeah, so I'm sorry, I just wanted to report that I did speak with Bill Sanborn today, and he told me that he did sign off on this today. There's some questions and concerns and issues that they've been discussing, but he did tell me that this has been approved. This event has been approved from the city perspective. They have all the necessary and required signatures.
I don't have any questions.
So at this event, is there going to be music? What is?
There's gonna be karaoke.
Allison, do they need an entertainment license for that?
Yes,
Do we need an
Well,
entertainment license for
they can't-
karaoke?
and they would have to, there's no one-day entertainment. The
Oh, okay.
facility would need to have an entertainment license.
Well, do they have other, do you know if this facility has other receptions?
They do
where
not.
have Music? They do.
They're not licensed to, no.
Mhm.
Yeah, this is
So
not a
that-
licensed function hall, so that's why we're asking these questions. Because this isn't, I know they've done events there in the past, but I don't know of it as being as organized as this. But that's just my experience. It doesn't mean it hasn't happened.
Mm.
So it appears we're probably gonna have, Michael's probably gonna have to get an entertainment license for the property as a whole. If there's gonna be more of these functions. And we have time to work that out, so don't fret. We just have to make
I'm
sure we get
fretting.
everything lined up. Don't
I'm very
fret.
nervous.
Last thing I want to do is ruin a good party. We just want to make sure that everything's done appropriately. That's all.
So I have been to many functions there with entertainment, but not loud entertainment, not amplified.
Right, so any type of entertainment, even if you're playing trivia, requires an entertainment license. So if I can sum up the issues that I see tonight, is that we have to make sure that alcohol is purchased from the right place. We have to make sure that there's liquor liability insurance and that the property has an entertainment license.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
do you want tip certification as well?
Yes.
The bartenders, I believe are tip certified through that bartender's service, but yes,
Usually you ask for them individually,
Yep.
so I'm asking.
right.
Want that
So,
too?
what's the name of them? Boston Best Bartending Services. They should have copies of their tip certification, which is a educational program that bartenders take.
Mhm.
So for the service of alcohol, which leads into the concerns of Sergeant Connors about making sure that no one underage is being served and there's protections in place, that the service laws are followed. So
Sure.
that tip certification is the training course that bartenders take, so we need to see that certification as well.
Okay, so it
Good.
sounds like not much has been handled by Michael DeCoster by the sounds of things.
Well, to be honest with you, I don't know, because he couldn't be here tonight, and we do have time before this event, so like I said, don't fret, we just have to get things in order.
Okay,
before the event. We will have another meeting in May. Usually we have this meeting the second Tuesday of the month, but I am leaving on vacation tomorrow. So we moved this meeting up and Michael wasn't aware of that. He had expected to come next Tuesday, so that's part of the problem.
okay. So when
So
would
we'll-
the next meeting be? I assume I would have to be on that meeting again?
I don't know. I think if we, as long as we're getting the documents, I mean, we're gonna have this discussion, we're still gonna vote whether to approve it or not tonight. It'll and I don't know that it will pass because we haven't had that discussion yet. But what we've done in the past is just approve it subject to getting these issues addressed. So that once everything comes in, your license can be provided without having to come before the board.
Okay.
Sergeant Connors, is there any topics of discussion we haven't discussed that you would like to bring up?
No, just, again, our concerns with just the underage drinking and also to make sure, obviously, if they have a certain area, if it's cordoned off, so people aren't just walking haphazardly with beers or drinks up through Harbor Loop, that area, so they stay in that certain area.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I think the only question I had too was, we get a layout of where the bar will be, where the service will be, where the tables are, enter and then exits out of the event area. Because that is a public pier.
Oh,
Yeah, the more I think about this, I'm just wondering.
I mean,
So-
there's been many events in the past at Maritime
Right.
Center, so,
There's been a lot of events without incident. I don't foresee an incident here. We just want to check all the boxes and I mean, we've had events where they've hired details in the past. I know, not that we're saying that they have to hire a detail. I'm simply saying that there's been events that they have done that and the officer keeps track of, the comings and goings, make sure nobody leaves. But on top of that, the biggest thing is like John just said, we're dealing with the pier with water and all that. So a
mhm,
layout would probably be good.
sure.
All right.
Yeah.
I appreciate that concern. I'll certainly be keeping an eye out for anything like that.
So you need a layout of where the bar will be, that kind of thing, tables?
yeah, where the DJ or the karaoke will be, where the tables will be set up. Is it gonna be underneath the tent? Are you gonna use the extension of the pier? Will there be high top tables down the pier for people to socialize at? So what that layout will be,
Mhm,
for the event.
okay.
Okay.
So is this the actual wedding? For some reason, I was thinking less people because it was just a rehearsal dinner, but it sounds like this is a bigger event.
It's the rehearsal dinner with, we're all from out of town, so the actual wedding's at the Beauport the
Okay.
next night. So this is just the rehearsal dinner, and then after the dinner's done, they've invited people who have arrived early the night before to do karaoke.
And how is the food being brought in? Are you using a caterer?
They're using a caterer, yes.
Do you know what caterer?
I do not.
Is the caterer, and the caterer is not doing the alcohol?
No, I believe that's separate.
I guess so Sergeant Connors, and those who are familiar with this, I just really haven't paid attention a lot about Gloucester Maritime, and to me, this is sticking out as something a little bit different. I guess I just have concerns with up to 80 people in that area, knowing it's on the water. There aren't service people around like you would have in a restaurant or a function hall. And I can't help but wonder if there should be a detail there. I'm just thinking of all the parking on the street, the people coming in and out, where the boundaries are, where all the eyes are, just to make sure that everything is safe and proper and fun. And I'm curious to know your thoughts and like either.
I don't disagree. We'd be more than happy to try and get a detail if that's what they chose. Talking to the deputy, if it was a smaller event, normally we don't have them
Right.
hire details. For anything larger, we have had details there in the past. Again, it's been a few years because everything's been shut down. So there really hasn't been an event that I'm aware of for the liquor license. I think there might have been one last year that went off without incident, but there hasn't been a ton. And so the smaller ones, Normally, we don't make them hire a detail that something here, if you're gonna have 80 or 90 people, like you said, that would be my suggestion. But after talking to Deputy, we're not gonna force anyone to do that unless it becomes a safety issue that the board thinks it's a safety issue and makes that a requirement, then we certainly, I don't disagree with it. You know,
So this is-
you're dealing with the Harbor Loop area there of people coming and going. Because keep it, what is the exact date of this again? I'm sorry, I missed it when you
It's
guys.
May
20
27th,
27th.
26th, I'm sorry, May 26th. The wedding is the
So
27th.
this event is on Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
You're gonna have a
beautiful.
lot of people around.
It's gonna be a lot of people in the city. It's gonna be a lot going on. I think the city is gonna be so full this summer. I can't even imagine what's gonna happen. But I guess I'm just concerned because if I think of like, say, the old Captain Carlos, and if we threw 80 people on the back deck there, I mean, this event is celebrating. It's not a fundraiser where they're looking at things to auction off. You know, this is a celebration of something fun. And so the alcohol in this type of event is important, and people are going to be drinking and celebrating. And I just honestly feel with the layout of that property, and because there aren't gates and fences up everywhere, and that's what makes the beauty of this property, I have concerns, and I know I would feel comfortable with a detail in the area down there to make sure that things are all going well, so that others may not necessarily have to pay so much attention. I mean, we usually rely on staff to be the eyes of the function. And I don't know that Maritime has that, because I don't know that Maritime is a function hall. And without anyone else there, who's really watching and who's responsible? So I know I would feel more comfortable with a detail with that many people. If it was like 20 or 25 for a dinner party, that's one thing, but this sounds like it's a little bit more than that, and rightfully so, because it's celebrating.
And how much is a detail? For, I'm assuming, one policeman?
Yeah, you would not need more than one person there for a detail. And the details, I'm not sure what the city rate is. I know the officers themselves, I believe it's I want to say like $55 or $58 an hour. But you could call the station and talk directly to the deputy chief and actually hire that if you chose to do that. And it's usually a 4-hour, a minimum of 4 hours.
Mhm.
But you would be there for the full 4 anyway.
Okay, and again, that's something that we do, not.
You would have to directly call the station and ask for the deputy chief. You could talk to him. I will brief him anyway. I'll be talking to him tonight or first thing in the morning and
So
let
this
him
is
know.
the Gloucester Police Department?
Yes, ma'am. You can call
Okay.
directly to Gloucester Police. His name's Deputy Chief Fitzgerald, Joseph Fitzgerald. And
Okay,
you can book it directly through him. And let him know the date and the times that you're looking for it. And he'll set you up with the billing and all that.
okay.
So this is, and I have you down as a 6-hour event, so this would be over, it goes from 4:30 to 10:30?
Yes.
And he
John,
would be-
John,
Any questions you
Sorry.
have, as far as the details.
I mean, you know, being a former caterer, we catered there many occasions, weddings, big events. You know, we never had an issue. So, and that was, you know, typically Labor Day weekend is when they would host their, you know, their big fundraiser events. But, you know, so I think there's probably a broader conversation to happen, you know, regarding the location, you know, the Maritime Center and how they intend to, you know, proceed through the summer months and hosting these events. But we typically have not had a problem. We've had private event put on like the gate that's at the very top of the street, you know, but there, you know, we did have staff, you know, watching and observing who was attending and so on and so on. But I completely understand your concerns, but I think we have a separate conversation to have regarding that also.
And I might add that a lot of events, a lot of places don't necessarily hire detail. They have their own security. So a place like that might want to hire. They may say to you when you're talking to whoever's running it for you, might say, "Oh no, we'll have security there. We're well aware of it, and we're going to have someone posted there to make sure nobody leaves." And that might be an option also, Ms. Kelleher, that the people you're dealing with as far as renting the property may have something in place for themselves for security
Okay.
that you don't have to hire a detail. That,
Okay.
that there would be security. Our biggest issue for us, and I believe with the board, is just the safety of everyone there. You know, especially where the alcohol and it is a party. It's not like Madam Chairman said, it's not a like a small fundraiser where they're
Right,
selling
no, I understand. I understand.
the safety of everyone, but they may have something in place when you talk to them again, they may have something in place that they have a security company that they've worked with in the past or something like that.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, even the bartending service that is going to be there might have something also.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So I'm wondering if we should just put this over, knowing that the intent is to get this license issued, right? So we're just working our way through some hurdles, that's all. The intent is to get the license issued, and I don't see any reason why it won't be, so long as we get everything that we need. I'm wondering, because we do have so many open-ended issues and conversations to be had, that we put this over to our next meeting, which I anticipate will be within the next 2 weeks, just to get the information to us. Like I said, this is not about not approving it, it's just about getting everything done that needs to be done before we say yes.
Mhm.
Okay.
You know what I mean? This will happen as long as we get the liability insurance, the security issues addressed, the tip certification. We're gonna have to deal with the music part of it, the entertainment part with the owner of the property. But that can all be addressed in one meeting. We just gotta
Okay.
get it lined up.
I
Along with
just
the
have a
alcohol purchase.
question about the entertainment license.
Mhm.
If there were weddings there before, like the other gentleman said, didn't they have music at those weddings?
They weren't applying for one-day liquor licenses, I don't believe, correct, John?
No,
So it's safe to
because
say
of
they
the
weren't on
liquor.
our radar.
and this goes back to, the early 2000s,
Oh, okay.
2011, 2012.
Okay.
So it was well after,
Sure.
well
Thank you.
before the pandemic started.
Okay.
So, I think we should put this over to the next meeting, which will be in a couple weeks. Like I said, the goal, we're gonna get the license issued. You just have to get the documentations that we need, for the tip certification, the liquor liability. We need to know about the security. We need to make sure that the alcohol is being purchased from a wholesaler. And we need to talk to the property owner about getting an entertainment license.
Okay, that sounds like a lot, but okay.
It is, but it'll be okay, I promise. Like I said,
All
just
right.
it's overwhelming because you're not familiar with it, but it's really not that difficult. I mean, you may find it's a phone call for Cappies to make sure you buy it from the right Cappies. Because it's my understanding too that Danvers is not a wholesaler. And the liquor liability insurance, the owner of the property may have it already, and if he does, that's an easy fix. If not, it's a phone call to an insurance company. The security is gonna be, I would ask the property owner what his intentions are for security. There needs to be something, there needs to be eyes there. So I know my question is gonna be, who's watching?
Mhm.
Who's paying attention?
Yeah.
And I want it to either be a property owner or a police department, not just bartenders that might be caught up in serving drinks and not seeing where people are walking off with those drinks,
Yeah.
right? Because they're there to make sure people get their drinks, not be security.
Right. No, I
And then-
totally get that.
And then know the boundaries of that property. It's beautiful. It's easy to fall in the water over there, the beautiful water. Want to make sure that usually we have gates and boundaries for establishments that have liquor licenses. You don't have that there. So we want to make sure no one's walking out on the street with it. We want to make sure minors aren't being served or because it's being overlooked because of the nature of the event, which is an event that is not typically held there. This is not a function hall, but they're having a function. So we're just trying to make it fit in a safe way.
Mhm.
Mhm.
That's fair.
So I would reach out to the licensing board clerk in the next couple of days to find out when our next meeting is and start doing your homework. And we'll have the owner of the property at our next meeting. We'll make sure his schedule can accommodate it. And we'll get all these issues addressed.
Oh, is it possible for Allison to invite me to the next meeting?
Of course.
Email like this
Yeah,
one, so
yeah.
I don't have to do my homework when the meeting is. So if she just reaches out through email again with an invitation, then that'll be good enough.
This email address did get an invitation.
Yes, that's why I'm
wanted-
here. That's how I'm
Oh,
here. So I'm
okay.
just saying for the next meeting, if you could do that.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
And I'm thinking the event is when, the 26th?
6,
That is a Thursday.
yes.
So I'm looking to John and John right now, and Allison, please speak up as well for your schedule. Are you able to meet on the 23rd, which is a Monday?
Shouldn't be a problem for me.
It's not a problem for me. For their sake, I would have wanted it sooner. 'Cause I
Well,
think
I'm
that-
trying to think of Allison's schedule with the zoning board as well, because she's
Yeah,
a very sought after clerk,
yeah.
I mean, as long as they have everything to me by,
the
think that's-
19th.
I think doing it later is better because they need to get everything to me and get everything
Okay.
finalized. The extra time on
Exactly.
the end is better than
Okay,
nothing.
I just want to reassure the Kelleher's that the people they're doing business with are extremely reputable. Okay, and if Michael were here this evening, he probably would have had all the answers to these questions. Sean shaking his head, and I know the organization and I know Michael, and I sense apprehension in your voice, and I don't blame you.
It's a little
But-
daunting, but if I
Yes, but-
believe, and I haven't
but-
dealt with Michael, my daughter-in-law has dealt with it, and we told her
Right.
to take this on because she's got.
Right, so
million
just,
things
he
going
can
on.
help you through that whole mess.
Okay, I think he already has, to be honest. He's talked to my daughter-in-law, and I
Okay,
think they've worked through a lot of this. That's why I was hoping he was gonna be on the call, but,
yeah,
okay, all right.
And
that- actually, that's
Michelle,
very
just
reassuring.
so you know, so technically it's your husband applying for this license, right? So technically he's in charge of everything. So if something goes wrong, he's the go-to person. So we want to make sure that everything is covered so that no one's
Right.
looking for your husband at the end of the night, right?
I really appreciate that.
We don't want anybody looking for him either.
I mean, if something goes wrong, we're gonna be like, okay, John, you need to come before us and explain this, right? But where's John? John's having a wonderful time, as he should, because of the wedding, right? So we're trying to make sure everything's covered, so you really don't have to pay too much attention other than just to have a good time.
Okay, that's the plan.
okay.
Could I make a quick comment? Allison, I just want to thank you for your patience with all this. Like was mentioned, I think many of these questions have been answered, but we're just not privy to them now. But I really appreciate your phone call and your patience with us.
Oh, you're welcome, anytime.
And just, I would really try to get a head start on the security and the eyes that are gonna be there, because I know I want a presence there of some sort.
Mhm.
So if you need to hire a detail, you're probably gonna need to make those arrangements before the 23rd. So
Mhm.
I can
Yes.
tell you going forward, I anticipate you having to have a detail because of the amount of people that are there and
Uh-huh,
because of the activity, unless someone tells me there's already security
right.
in place, which to be honest with you, I struggle to believe that, but you never know. Michael could surprise us.
Mhm. I think it would actually, I would have peace of mind too, to have
Yeah.
somebody there. It would make me feel better too. So
How
that-
old is the wedding party? Is there younger kids there? Like, will there be
No, there's nobody underage in the wedding party. Honestly, I can't think of any guests that are going to be underage.
They're 30 plus.
Yeah, and all the siblings and everybody who's in it is well
of
over.
age? Okay. And like I said too, the way that property is set up, there's usually when there's a license involved for one-day licenses, we're asking for fences to be put up or the netting and things like that, because there has to be a secure area of where the alcohol is served. And I know that property isn't set up that way because it would take away from the beauty of it. So again, an additional concern, just to make sure someone is nearby to keep eyes or be there as a resource if needed.
Okay, so can I just read back what I've got for what we need to do?
Yes, of course. Yeah,
The layout of the bar and the tables and all that.
yeah.
Where's my number 2 here? The detail for the security or the policeman.
Mhm.
The tips certification for Boston bartenders. You need a copy of that certification.
Yeah, what they are is they're pictures of little cards. They get these tips cards that say that they're certified and what the expiration date is.
Okay, so you need to see copies of that. The entertainment license, which we have to find out if the place has that or not.
Exactly. And
And,
if not, Michael will have to apply for it.
okay, and is that feasible that he would get that?
Yep.
Okay, all right. And the liquor, we have to change the Cappies from Cappies Danver to a different Cappies. That is
Yep.
wholesale. Okay.
And
that's
your
what I got. Is that
liability,
everything?
and your
Oh, the
liability.
liability, right, the liability insurance. Right.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
since we're making a list, we haven't received payment for the application either. I spoke to Mr. Kelleher about that.
I
So it
believe
could
my
be that.
daughter-in-law sent that on Friday, maybe?
Perfect. Okay, I'll look out for it.
Yeah, she should have mailed that.
and
Okay,
then, okay. And we'll be in touch with the property owner too as well to fill him, and I'm sure you will too. You probably have a quicker direct line
Yeah.
to him than I do. Just let him know, and I'm happy to call him as well. He called me today. Unfortunately, I didn't have time to check back in with him before this meeting tonight, but
Okay.
I will definitely follow up with this phone call as well.
all right, very good.
Okay. We
All
will
right.
see you in a couple weeks.
All right,
Don't-
very good, thank
Don't
you.
fret, enjoy this time.
We'll work
Okay.
out.
Good luck.
All right,
be
thank
fine.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Next order of business is the minutes of 2/8/2022. Have you had a chance to read them?
Did.
These minutes were actually sent off to the ABCC in draft form. I do have one correction. Allison, in the opening statement, it says additionally, all votes taken by the zoning board of appeals.
Oh, it's not. I'm sorry.
And I know how easy that is to happen,
Oh,
but
thank
these
you.
are extremely detailed. This is like a verbatim conversation.
That's what you asked for.
When it comes to certain establishments, absolutely. John and John, do you have any corrections, deletions, concerns about the minutes?
No.
Is there a motion to approve?
I motion to approve the minutes for February 8th, 2022.
I'll second that motion.
And that's with that correction of the zoning board.
That too, yes.
Roll call vote?
Mr. Orlando,
Yes.
Ms. Prince,
Yes.
Mr. Lammerin.
Yes.
And finally, under new business, discussion of the 24 common victual licenses that expired on 12/31/2021 have not been renewed and are currently serving food for immediate consumption. So Allison gave us a list of establishments in our packet. Some have checks and X's on them. Allison, do you want to explain this list?
Sure. So the people that do not have checks and X's are the people that we have not received anything from. If you'd like me to list them, I can.
No.
Okay.
And
Well,
so there's several. And these
Okay.
establishments, you've sent out 2 letters already
correct.
and you have no response?
Right. Yes. Some of them have started it. There's a few, you can see like 2 or 3 that have started the process but never finished it.
My memory serves me correctly, coincidentally, Sergeant Sean Connors is with us tonight, that last year when we did this, we had letters hand delivered to the establishments by the police department, which created an immediate response. I think it was his smile and his swagger as he handled that letter to the business, because within days, those applications were applied for.
I would be more than happy to do that again.
Okay,
It's like
Were there
24.
this many?
No, I don't believe so.
No? Do you
What was
think
the
it's
question?
because I asked if there were this many since I wasn't here?
I don't think
no,
so.
there was not.
Maybe a dozen, maybe, a dozen or
Yeah.
so.
And do you think it's because it has to be done online, or does it? Do you think it's the new system?
I think
The
some of
reason-
them, some of the people from last year was saying that they just forgot. You know, when we went in there, they were like, oh, I meant to send that in and I apologize, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised that Beach Club should be submitting theirs though. They'll open up in June. House Rocks Beach Club.
So I'm looking at this list and I just want to be clear. So a common vic license needs to be there when there's service, table service. So I see Holy Cow there. Does that mean when someone sits down at a table over there, they serve the table, or the just seating for convenience? Because that's two different things. The law says that if there's service, if there's seating, meaning people are sitting and being served.
The way we have it written is seats for immediate consumption. So that's what I've always gone
Okay.
by.
Okay, if
So
that's
that
what we've
would
done
mean
then
that-
that's what we do.
That's different. Yeah.
Okay. All right, well, if that's what we've done, that is a past practice. So it looks like there is a long list and Sean is going to be busy.
And very few of them are new.
Yeah. Allison, so these need to be done on the system?
Yes.
So let's draft a letter, another letter, a final letter, and put final notice at the top, and I can work with you on that. And to give direction to go the website, and if they can't, that they can do it in person if they don't have access to a computer. Which my guess most of these will. And then we'll have to come up with a deadline date as well. So we can work together on that soon.
Yeah, the
Okay.
letter did include a letter with directions on how to do it. So however you want to put that together. is
Okay.
fine.
Okay, just thinking. We'll probably, just for Sergeant Connor's know, for him to know, probably not gonna do this till I get back, which is next week.
That's fine. You just let me know when you guys
Yeah.
have it, grab it. I think I grabbed it from Allison last time and we'll, I'll take care of it.
I think the goal will be to get them out, or at least the letter to you by May 20th to serve.
Yeah, whatever works for you guys. I'll make sure.
I just gotta work with Allison to get it done. If it's sooner, it's sooner, but I know Allison has a lot going on with the zoning board as well. So I don't wanna add more. I don't wanna add pressure knowing we can do this within the next couple weeks. Okay,
Sounds good.
all right. Is there any other new business to come before the committee tonight? Anything anyone would like to bring up?
I'm sure. So, I mean, we talked about Gloucester Maritime Center, right? And we know that they host events. You know, I think there's a couple other locations that probably do. I think that come to mind. It's on East Main Harbor. something.
Harbor House.
The house?
Yeah, and then
think
what
it's
about
called
like
Harbor
Hammond
House.
Castle? I know they can probably have caterers with licenses, but I don't think they have like an entertainment license. And then we know that these places do functions, but I'm not sure if they're coming to us for one-day licenses and or entertainment licenses.
So this is the struggle that I have, and the city's gonna work on this, is all I can tell you from my conversation today. So technically, the way I understand it is, if this event is not open to the public, then usually you don't get a one-day liquor license.
Okay.
If it's invite only, this is what I read on the law, if it's invite only, not open to the public, it's a private event and does not require a liquor license. This is where Michael DeCosta and I go back and forth. So I don't know how this is going to play out, but I know that how the Hammond's Castle is part of a conversation right now, the Harbor Room. If it's not open to the public and it's an invite only, then technically we wouldn't be involved. So I'm struggling to find out why we're involved with this.
With this one, yeah.
Right, to begin with.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
But they applied, so here we are, right?
Right,
So
but
I
we
don't
know that we do know that Hammond Castle is open to the public, probably during day hours, so they could
But
have a
not
day.
serving alcohol, though.
Not inside, but I'm just saying if there's a wedding outside, public people go from there to the outside area? I'm just saying, I mean, I just think we have other function halls. We should I'm looking for that consistency, on how it's done.
Madam
And
Chair, wait,
maritime,
but I'm going to stop you right there because I don't want this conversation to go too far down the road because I know the city's having a conversation.
Okay, that's
So-
fine.
Just saying, technically, what we define as a function hall might not be defined by the city as what a function hall is. So there's a conversation going on the city side that they're trying to navigate through all these issues so that we don't interfere with people's celebrations, but at the same time, make sure that we're following regulations.
right.
And that's what's going on with this event. Like I said, I struggle a little bit to figure out why we're doing a liquor license if it's invites only. Maybe Allison, did you have a hand raised? Do you have any inside knowledge?
So I spoke with the applicant's soon-to-be daughter-in-law, and I told her she needed one because in the past, if it's how we've done it is if it's the owner, so if it's Maritime Gloucester.
Right, the owner has to apply for it.
If well, not even that, but if it's their private event, but if he's renting it out to someone and there's money taking, so now it's not their private event anymore, it is a public event.
You're right, you're right.
And that's where we get drawn in.
Yep, you're absolutely right. I forgot about that part because it's not at their,
Right, so if he was just having something and he wasn't collecting money and he was serving alcohol, it'd almost be like having it at his house. But that's
Right.
not the case. He's collecting money from who he's renting it to.
So
yep,
that would
you're
be the same for
right.
Hammond Castle and for Harbor.
Hammond Castle
everybody.
used only 12C caterers, so that's why we don't hear from them.
yeah.
From what I'm
Okay.
told. From what I'm
Yep.
told.
So if you do have one of those caterers, you don't have to go through this process?
Nope,
No.
12C caterers are certified by
Why
the,
don't they just get one of those?
I know.
Well, and who knows, maybe the caterer does
We might
have
not
it.
even know.
Yeah, we don't
I
even
was gonna
know.
ask
They
that
might.
question, but I was gonna ask that question to them, but I didn't wanna,
That would be awful if he has one and they don't have to do any of this.
well, that's why I asked him, John, if the caterer was doing the alcohol service and they said no.
Right,
So
Right.
the caterer has to do the alcohol service.
yeah,
And under a 12C caterer, they notify the police department. They're supposed to notify them before the event that the event's taking place, so the police would know. So there's a process for a 12C caterer as well. It just
Right.
doesn't involve us.
I see,
Right.
okay. Good. I
Yeah,
just
maybe
love
that's
this
how Harvard
on-the-job
Youth-
training in public.
Yeah, maybe
But
that's
it's
how
good.
Hubbard used to
Everybody
engineer.
learns.
So I'm gonna anticipate, and this isn't for discussion, this is just for informational, because we've scheduled a meeting for May 23rd. That'll probably be another agenda item, will likely be the new license. So we'll put that on the agenda and discuss the process, because we have to put that process out to the public on that
Right.
day.
Right, okay,
We got our feedback from the community and we're gonna discuss that as well.
Yeah.
So, Sean, that might be a good conversation for you to participate in, or to at least listen to. I'm not sure if you're aware, the city has obtained another all alcohol liquor license because our population increased. And we're developing a process to provide that license to an establishment as opposed to it being sold or transferred in between private owners. The city of Gloucester will be transferring it to an establishment or a proposed establishment, depending on how we go with that. And so there could be a new establishment in town, or there could be like a seasonal license that might become year round.
Has the city decided how they're gonna pick which establishment or?
Yep, that's all gonna be discussed at our next meeting. We had a public hearing at our last meeting to hear from the public about criteria that the public thinks we should consider. But so we're gonna take that information and develop a procedure, how we want to proceed based on testimony we've heard and also our own ideas.
Excellent.
So
So that's
just-
gonna be on the
doesn't have-
23rd? That'll be on the
Yeah.
23rd, right? Okay.
Oh, it can't, oh,
It
I have
can't be-
another meeting on the 23rd. I have a big meeting on the 23rd. All right, with everyone here tonight, is there any way to do this meeting earlier, the week before? I just remembered
16th?
I have a very important meeting on the 23rd. I knew that
Isn't that what I asked?
Or do we dare go to the 24th, which is a Tuesday?
The day before?
So the 23rd is a Monday.
Yeah.
Their
it's on Thursday.
27th.
their event is the 26th, which is a Thursday.
Oh, is that right?
I thought it was the 27th.
That 19th, I do not have a licensing board, if that helps.
What? You don't?
I
On what
don't.
day?
The 19th
18th? Is
is my bye week, if that helps you at all.
that a Thursday?
Yeah.
Thursday, 19th. I'm free right now.
But I can do the 24th too. I'm just throwing it out there for you.
Well, I'd rather do earlier than the 24th, just in case. The 19th.
I think I'm all right. I mean, my days change from day to day, so.
I have something Wednesday, the 18th. You know what? Can you just hold on? I'm just gonna look at my calendar. Hold on.
Dark fast.
Nope, I don't have anything the 19th. So can we change it to the 19th?
Sure.
Sounds good. We have to let them know though.
Yeah, and I'm gonna reach out to Gloucester Maritime too and talk to them.
Yeah.
We'll get this going. There's a lot to do, but we can get through it. Okay, so 6:30 start on the 19th?
Sure.
Great. Any other concerns, questions?
Will this be the only agenda item except for the alcohol license?
So I would say unless a one-day application comes in that needs an immediate response. Oh, plus we have those entertainment licenses that got put over as well. The Castaways and the studio. So it's just one of those months where we need 2 meetings, I guess. And hopefully less in June.
Most
Since I
months,
joined.
right, I think most months require 2. And I'm okay with that. That's okay.
Could I,
Yeah, go ahead.
if I could request that the board take some time to look at the special one day going online, maybe meet with IT and get it all together, because that I think would alleviate a lot of these issues once we get all the requirements in place, because then they'd have to go through the system before it gets on the meeting. And it'd be things pushing at them instead of this application. They wouldn't have to be going around from department to department. I think
Right.
just of all our applications, this is the best one to have online.
Okay,
Allison, I think I went through it. And I think the only thing identified was serve safe.
Right.
not
yeah, we
being-
did that
I'm just
already.
wondering
Yeah.
With all the questions that came up tonight, if there were more things that you might
Yeah.
want.
Yeah, I have to look at it, so I'd like that opportunity. Because
Yeah.
I think, like you said, of all of them, this is the most important because it's a quick decision for a one day with people that aren't too familiar with what's going on.
Yeah, and a lot of them don't live in Gloucester, so they're driving down from where are these people from to get
Mhm.
signatures and.
They're from
That's a
Western
lot.
Mass, where I grew up. So. it's a
And if
couple
we have
hours
this
away.
meeting, on the 19th, our next meeting isn't until June 14th, so that's almost a month.
Mhm.
So whatever we need to get done on the 19th that can't be done on the 14th is what would be on this agenda, with the exception of what we already said. Okay?
Mhm.
Great. All right. Anything else? Thank you so much, Sean, for coming back.
Thank you for having me back.
Appreciate
Welcome
it.
back.
As many as I can. I appreciate it.
I'm hoping, I don't know, Allison, have you heard a lot of what's going on this summer? Like, do you see a lot of involvement with us this summer?
I have a ton of questions for special one day licenses. But I don't see a lot going on. I haven't seen a lot with SEAC. There's a few things that need to come towards us that are going to SEAC first, but nothing crazy. I'm sure we will. I mean, there's still all the waterfront festivals and all those are going to be coming to us.
We have
All those-
Fiasco weekend, so
Yes.
That's one that I don't think that we have to deal with.
no,
Officer
The
Connor,
Fiesta?
that's his one. Yeah.
I call it Fiasco.
Fiasco is right.
Madam Chair, what about, Madam Chair, what about outdoor dining? Where's the city with that?
I brought it up at the last meeting and it was not discussed. When I brought it up here, it was stated that there was no discussion on the city council side. So
Just
that's
curious.
where that's where I haven't heard anything. I'm not aware of anything. Sean, are you aware of anything?
I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't know how true Gloucester Bites is, but they said that it was turned down by the city.
Yeah, my guess is from the response we got at one of our last meetings, when I asked the question if it was at the city council that night, I don't believe that there's anything different going on this year. I think the COVID regulations that allowed them outside dining are over, and I don't know that the city came to a determination to do anything else. I mean, a lot of places made their own outdoor dining. Like you have Yella that's going to put up their tent. Tono put up a tent. Drift has outside. I don't know what else is going on. So
Just curious. Okay.
that's my answer. Okay.
I
Thank you Oh, go ahead.
Well, real quick, while I have everyone, I just want to touch base with the summer coming too. I just want to, we last year we dealt with it and I anticipate this year, and I've been going to a bunch of the establishments and just touching base, but the fake IDs, Melissa knows they're very, very real.
Everywhere.
The liquor stores, the package stores, taking them, they actually, a lot of them actually scan. It's the individual's real name, their real address. The only difference is a date of birth, and there are a few ways to take the ID and to use a light and to shine to a certain area that shows to, and we've been able to go around. And again, Melissa's been part of this with me. We've been able to go around and educate the restaurants, the establishments, a lot of the private security that work, a lot of the bars here in town. And they'll turn them into us. And a lot of them actually behind the scenes have said, hey, you get a reward if you get one, So it gives the doorman incentive as well to do something for the establishment. But they've given me a call on a regular basis. I get calls on a regular of, hey, I got a couple IDs down here. And then what I'll do is I usually will try and identify who the person is, because again, a lot of times it's their real name, and just try and educate them at that point. And I'm seeing a lot of them, believe it or not, 20 years old. They're almost 21 anyway. They're like that close. But that's spending the money to get it because they want that 1 year, and I guess. But more or less is for education. The last thing we want is underage kids smashing their cars up and getting hurt or anything. So.
So Sergeant, I can't help but wonder, knowing that Fiesta is back this year, and everybody's anticipating it, if there is a way for you to make time somehow to go to like the club, the Gloucester House, Declan's, the ones that in that area of Fiesta that seem to capture most of the celebration, and especially Declan's like is under different management than has been in the past, just to have a conversation with them and maybe give them some insight as to what's going on, because it was a couple fiestas ago that we were just inundated with fake IDs.
Yeah, it's so tough. And again, a lot of these establishments have tried to do the right thing. They've got
Exactly.
scanners, and some of these IDs actually scan. You know what I mean? It's crazy. They're getting better as far as technology wise. But there are a few little things, and again, I've been to a lot of the places, and we can do that again prior to Fiesta, and just touch base with them and let them know, hey, this is what you're looking for, and this is what I would like to see,
And the one good thing about Gloucester is a lot of the owners or the bouncers per se know people in Gloucester, so they know when somebody's underage. Like we knew when there was a high school kid coming in because they know the family. But yet their ID says otherwise.
Well, I've found that the word gets out real quick. If you get 1 or 2 underage kids in, the next thing you know, you're going to have 20 in there, Because they
Yeah.
all spread the word, and we were at a point at one point where they were, taking selfies of themselves and posting selfies. And so we kind of cracked down last year as far as hitting all the places and educating them. A few of them, we had a little bit more of a stern talking to. And then I'll tell you, they've been great. They call us up and they'll say, hey, I get some IDs and I'll go down. And again, we try and, hopefully, same thing happens this year,
Right.
they don't want, as we all know, the last thing they want to do is get someone in there, get caught with underage kids in there drinking and things like that. So there's not one place I can say is purposely trying to avoid it. They're all certainly trying to work with us,
Right.
I think. So that's a good
I
thing.
agree. So let's talk offline about that and maybe we can do some proactive outreach before fiasco.
Yeah,
as John calls it.
Are there consequences for the kids? Out of curiosity?
Yeah, so there could be, again,
An off-thing topic. I was just curious. I'm sorry.
yeah, no, absolutely. Like if I was right there on scene and we wanted to arrest them, we could do it. It's actually would be an arrestable offense. However, I believe education sometimes is a better part of valor in scenarios like that. And we'll go ahead and, I'll have them bring them right here in the station sometimes and sit there and talk to them and explain to them, what could happen. Now, if it's became a repeat offense or something like that and they got grabbed again, or we saw them again, then that would be a different situation. We could summons them into court or something like that. But yes, technically it's an arrestable offense.
And on that note, we don't want any trouble.
None. We want everyone to be safe and happy,
Absolutely. All right, is there anything else before we adjourn?
No, I just got a telephone call from Michael DeCosta, who is through with his meeting. He tried to jump on this meeting, but for some reason, he couldn't get on, so he'll get in touch with you later.
Yep, I'm gonna give him a call as soon as we hang up.
Good.
We hang
That'll
up.
be good.
Hang up.
Hang up? You want us to hang up?
Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second that emotion, that emotion.
Roll call vote, Allison?
Mr. Orlando?
Oh, did you say me?
Yes.
Oh,
Different.
but I didn't even hear that name. Yes.
Ms. Prince?
Yes.
Mr. Lammery?
Yes.
Good night, everyone. See you in a
Good.
couple weeks.
Thank
Good
you. Night. Good seeing you.
Bye-bye.
Welcome back, Sean. Bye-bye.
Good seeing you, Sean.
Allison, I'll be in touch with you tomorrow.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Good night, Sean.
Good night. Thank you, guys.